Okay. So anyway, hey everybody, happy Monday afternoon. Look, we're early and I'm back. I'm not at Disney World. Either's Pam.
I know, I'm back too. We're both back.
We're both back and we're going to talk about our trips. Happily ever after, riding Tron, new hotel rooms, old hotel rooms, Narcoossee's. Pam spent the night there. No, she lied. She spent the night at Grand Floridian though, and at All Star Sports. How about that for extremes?
Right?
But the rooms at All Star Sports are new and nice and awesome.
They are.
And sports are awesome. So there you go. All right. So here we go. We're going early. Ricky's going to join us for the second show. She's getting an adjustment, hopefully to her attitude, but probably her back. But we'll see. Maybe both. Hopefully she's tuned in. We love Ricky. All right. 2273.
2273.
Here we go. Welcome to episode 2273 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're ready for a great weekend. I don't know if this one's going to be as epic as last weekend down at the Springtime Surprise Race Weekend, but hey, it's going to be a good one around here. It is what you make it. Of course, it's been a nice week here in the Midwest, but it's going to cool off. But, you know, you can't always have 90 degrees and, 80% humidity like Lake Buena Vista, but we'll make the most of it. We'll have a good time. We're going to kick it off right now by talking about some Walt Disney World excitement coming your way this summer. And Pam's joining me today to talk about some of the stuff that both of us got to experience over the past 10 days to 2 weeks or so. So Pam Forrester, so glad to have you back, co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. It's a Pam and Mike special today. So how's it going?
It is going great. I have been out and about doing a bunch of different stuff since I was last on the podcast. It's been a couple weeks. We did, like Mike said, we looked at All-Star Sports, saw the new rooms there. We're at the Grand Floridian and the new rooms there. Sailed on a Virgin cruise, not a Disney Cruise Line experience. Was really happy with that. That is an adult-only line for those who don't know anything about it. It's kind of newer to the cruise scene. But what's funny about it, the Disney connection here is the guy who used to be the president of DCL is actually running Virgin as well. So lots of similarities too.
That is a weird, like to go out and recruit somebody. Okay, we're going to start an adults only cruise line.
Right.
We're going to grab the guy from Disney Cruise Line to do this, right? I mean, the cruise line that probably markets itself to families and has, so much programming. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's honeymooners that go on Disney Cruise Line all the time. Great adult areas. You could sell with my kids, and I've done it. Disney Cruise Line, you could do that. But it's just, that seems like a weird, you wouldn't go for Disney Cruise Line to to this Virgin Cruise Line,
I know.
But I guess it's working.
Well, so he was there when Disney Cruise Line was sort of in negotiations, I believe, for like the private island and all of that. And so sort of like the launching of the cruise line. So I think that's what they were tapping into, that whole thing. And Virgin really tries to sort of take the things that work for other cruise lines and puts their own spin on them too. So we had a great time. I booked again while I was on. I mean, I really liked it that much. So it's a good alternative for people out there looking for something different in a cruise. And yeah, there were some similarities, definitely some similarities, and some differences too. So that was good and bad. So good stuff.
I'm sure they have a casino, right?
They do have a casino, but it's small. It is a small one. And there is the main issue for many times the casino is there's smoke that sort of permeates through the ship. None of that. There was one room in the casino where you can smoke and you can't smell it outside of that room. Oh. And like it's a closed off room, like behind a door kind of room.
I saw that when I because I feel like such a world traveler now, and I connected to go to Disneyland for that event about a month ago at this point. I was passing through the airport and there were like little glass boxes with slot
Yeah.
machines inside them. I guess those are for the smoking one-armed bandit patrons.
Right. Yes, yes, yes. So there was, but yeah, it didn't impact the rest of the cruise. It wasn't until I think like the last day that I finally ended up walking through it, and it was sort of like, what's happening here? So anyways, but yeah, it was good. Good
Interesting.
shows,
All right.
good entertainment. All that.
Well, hey, let's talk about Walt Disney World.
Let's
Lots
do
left
it.
this summer, and there's still time to plan that trip down to Walt Disney World this summer. Of course, we have the podcast cruise coming at us like a freight train. We're going to be sailing with a lot of our listeners on the Disney Wish, July 3rd to the 7th. We cannot be more excited. We're planning on great fun with our listeners, and we have so many first timers sailing with us this time. So get ready to have a good time. We're going to have a blast. Can't wait for that. Of course, we're planning out pre-trip stays to Walt Disney World, post-trip stays to Walt Disney World. And we've gotten to experience some of this new stuff that's going to be happening at Walt Disney World here from now and, in the future here. So you mentioned earlier that you got to spend a night over at All-Star Sports in one of the refurbished rooms, and they're all almost done. I think there's one building left.
Yes.
And they're finishing that one off. So what was it like? Because you haven't been over there in a little bit. So how was All-Star Sports?
Not. So I will admit it has been years.
Dan Forrester, All-Star Sports expert. Okay.
But it was really, I wanted to get over there really and see what it was like. And I have to say, the rooms look great. I mean, all the improvements that we saw when Disney a few years ago made all those changes to Pop Century with the pull down beds and everything else, they had rolled those out to the other value resorts, and All-Star Sports is really the last one to get those done. And it just sort of made me remember all the things I love about those new value rooms, right? I love the way that the bed folds up into a table throughout the day. It gives you extra space in the room. The room feels so much more spacious. I love the little coffee refrigerator station, right? There's some shelves up above there. Put some snacks on, right? You were at Pop Century.
I had Rice Krispie treats on that shelf.
I'm sure you did.
The beauty of when you do a challenge at a race weekend is that each day I had one more of my little nutrition boxes, the little Run Disney boxes that come with the sunflower seeds and the animal crackers and the fake cheese. I had 3 of them by Sunday. So that was the shelves, right? I don't drink coffee, but that's where I Amazon freshed me some Rice Krispie treats, and I ended up eating one. I left 15 behind. It was so sad. I should have brought them home. I didn't remember.
You should have. You should have. But I think that works so well in that room, just sort of like there's a location for it. I'm a huge proponent of the little hooks, right? Where you can hang stuff up on the walls. I love that. I think that, right? A hat, a coat, a bag, something. And I love that bathroom setup too. I think it's so much more functional than it used to be. The fact that there are doors that close that go to the vanity area, and then another door that closes to the shower and toilet area. That makes getting ready easy, changing easy, all of those things. And I truly appreciate all the plugs and the USB ports and all of that. I mean, we all have like 3 or 4 devices that need to get plugged in every night. There needs to be a place to do that. I love that Disney is adding those. I think that's a huge benefit. And the storage, there's a lot more storage in these rooms than there used to be before. So I think those are all big pluses. We also took the opportunity to sort of walk between all of the All-Star resorts because they're really all within walking distance. We checked them all out. They all are looking in good shape. The icons are fun. I have to say, music is a favorite of mine for a number of reasons. I think that it is almost like the most themed, right? When you go to the country fair area and the Broadway area.
And Broadway area is very Instagrammable.
It is.
There's something about that part of the resort and the Jazz Inn at night.
Yes.
It's romantic.
It is romantic. And I think there's just lots of stuff to love about those resorts. I think that if I were looking to plan a trip to Disney World, I would not even consider staying off site when these are an option for me. For my money, if I'm looking to save money on the room portion, I'm staying at one of the Disney Value Resorts. I think that there's just so many reasons to do that. And again, we mention this all the time, but the 30 extra minutes in the park of your choice in the morning can be a game changer. You know, you wouldn't think 30 minutes means that much. I think 30 minutes in the morning can help you save a couple hours throughout the rest of the day. Don't you think?
Agree. Because I did it Saturday at the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And because that was the 10K day. So yeah, it was Saturday. And because I got my virtual boarding, we'll talk about Tron in just a minute, but I ran the 10K that started at 5 a.m. So I had enough time to finish the race. This is how early those races are, right? I finished 10K, got my pictures afterwards, got on the bus, got back to Pop Century, took a shower, and still hadn't even been 7 o'clock yet. I was shaving and I got my virtual, like sweating bullets because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 6:59, 48 seconds. And it was real because after the 10 miler, I was sitting because I was going to the studios that day. So I was just enjoying everybody else on the whole bus's stress because everybody was sitting on the bus trying to get the virtual queues for either Guardians or Tron. And so, and I knew some people on the bus, so I was giving them a hard time. But yeah, luckily I got group 31 on Saturday, but I went for resort early magic hours and I got Space Mountain, just walk right on, boom, right there. Cause like they hold you right there in the land you're going to go once they scan you through, verify that you're an on-site guest. And I got that. And then I went over to Mansion and rode that real quick. And I was like, and then I headed back to Big Thunder. So I had 3 rides. I was in the queue for Big Thunder when it became 9 o'clock. Or whenever the park opened to the regular guests. I was already 3 in. So we've talked about this forever. Is like I was way ahead of the wave.
Yeah.
Right? Like when the wave started, the tsunami of day guests came in. They were going for Space Mountain. That was already in my back pocket, and they were heading for Haunted Mansion. That was in my back pocket. So at this point, I could go for like the secondary ones, the big people eaters, like maybe a Jungle Cruise or a Pirates or something like that. And it just made my morning great.
It does. It makes the rest of the day great. It does. Now, the other bonus that I think, well, we'll talk about this because I spent one night at sports and then moved over to a different resort. But I was impressed. I think that they've done a great job. Of course, my preference for a value resort is always going to be Pop Century because it has Skyliner access. I mean, I can't get away from that. It's one of my favorite modes of transportation. But I really think that the All-Stars offer something that appeals to a big group of people. And I completely understand and support that. It's just, I wanted to check it out and make sure our agents were all in the know about where we were refurbishment wise with that. It's a little challenging to get information on that, even for us. At times we'll call in and be like, where are you in what buildings have been done or not done? And the cast members don't always have that information at their fingertips. So sometimes you have to get boots on the ground for some certain things. And hey, I mean, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I'll go down there and do it.
Very well said. Very kind of you.
Yeah, I know, right? All about the giving.
You're such a diplomat there. Okay, so let's kind of hop around here. So I want to talk about something you got to experience, and I think you got to experience it the night it came back. And this is near and dear to a lot of our listeners' hearts. Happily Ever After has returned, the nighttime spectacular at the Magic Kingdom, dearly beloved show, and it went away, and it has now made a glorious. I did not get to see it because, man, those 2:45 wake up calls.
I know they're early for you.
Some people did. These people are crazy. I didn't go to bed like during these races. I'm an old dude. I cannot do that. But more part of you guys that came rolling into the corrals like for the 4 o'clock in the morning for our Blizzard picture, and they're like, "Yeah, I saw Happily Ever After last night." I'm like, "You did what?" I'm like, "That was like 2 hours ago."
Yeah, right.
Like, I didn't go to bed. I'm like, dude needs sleep.
Right.
Fireworks, but not that much. Okay, so you got to.
I did.
And it has some changes, or tell us about it.
I did. So here was the thing. We lucked out and got a dessert party for the first night that it was coming back. And I was really excited. So we chose to do the post dessert party, which is my preferred one because it sort of lets you experience the fireworks and then go have the dessert. And then at that point, people are moving, they're getting out of the Magic Kingdom after that. We all know there's sort of an exodus after the fireworks. So we were in that little area where you get to see the fireworks from when you're attending one of the dessert parties. And it's in one of those little enclosed areas there in the hub, right, that they had built a few years ago. I love this part of it. This is what I love for the dessert party. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. I don't really love desserts. So when we do the dessert party, I like go up there and Steve's always like, you got like 3 pieces of cheese and whatever.
That's a crime against humanity. Actually, I met a couple of listeners. They were rope dropping their dessert party. I was in Magic Kingdom, and they were the first ones there. And so I was walking past and like, Mike, and I was like, hey, so they're like, you do the podcast? I'm like, yeah. So we talked and we got pictures.
Yeah.
They're the first ones there. And I was like, so you here for the dessert party, obviously, because I was up there in the Tomorrowland Terrace area. And they were setting it all up, and I saw like that buffet's pretty long, and
it is
the bar set with like all the wines and the beers and stuff.
It is.
And I mean, it's looked pretty extensive. So if you only got a few pieces of cheese, that is a crime against humanity.
No, but here's the thing that makes it so worth it for me, and I will do it about every time I go if I can. It is the fact that I get to go to that area to watch the fireworks. Right. I do not have to stand in the hub for 2 hours, right? I don't have to do all of that. So we get to do that. So anyways, we go to that area, and there's sort of a buzz in the Magic Kingdom. And you know what that feels like. It feels like that before, I think, every fireworks. But it was even more buzzy than ever before, right? Because everyone is so excited. There are about 8 million happily ever after t-shirts and ears and everything else. People are excited to be here for this. And I love that. So when the lights dimmed and the music starts, the crowd erupts. Like, they're excited. And that's one of my favorite things about a Disney vacation. And I've said this a couple times over the years as we've done the Disney podcast here, but that feeling that you're sort of in this space with like-minded people, experience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you're experiencing it all together, and it's something special, and you all know it's something special. Well, that's what that night was like for me. There were just so many different times that we, at different, the crowd would ooh or ah, and you saw the fireworks, and when the Hercules song comes on, right? That's the best.
Speaks to me. That's the thing about the brutality of mile 23 of a marathon, but I try to go the distance.
So it was great. But yes, there are some new projections that extend all the way down Main Street. And I love that they pulled Main Street into it. They've done that at Disneyland for a while. It's really kind of a cool thing. It lets you all be a part of that. And look at that. There's a little bit of change to the projection on the castle. Of course, Tink still flies at the end. And I think that was a stroke of genius. Whenever they decided to move Tink to flying at the end, because I think she did like near the beginning of Wishes. Mm-hmm. And that's really a cool thing, because it's another one of those moments where the crowd is into it. You see little kids being like, Mom, there she is. And I'm like, oh, that is the sweetest thing in the world. So it was great. If no other reason than to think about a quick trip down the summer, I would say Happily Ever After is excuse enough. There, I'm writing you all an excuse. You can go ahead and plan a quick trip to see Happily Ever After. I'll sign it for you.
I will say, I mean, and I've said this for years, is that whether you're getting into the Disney fandom here in 2023, or it happened for you back in 2011 or, 1998, whatever it is, I think you just get that connection with that time where you have that intense, where everything is new and you really kind of fall in love. Like, I still love the Disney parks just as much as anybody, right? I mean, I just got back from Disneyland, love it. Walt Disney World had a great race weekend again. Love it. We're going to go on a cruise. Love that. But there's still something nostalgic for me. I still have that connection to Illuminations, Wishes, Spectrum Magic, because that was when my kids are growing up. But Happily Ever After has that because of Mallory. Like, that was her show. So, this is one of those things you can almost go back in time. You don't get this often where Disney brings back a show, so I'm super excited that I get to go back with Mallory this summer. We're going to be in the Magic Kingdom and see this. Like, that's going to be special, because we were there we saw it like one last time. I remember we were down for that restart Disney cruise. We're saying that one night at the Grand Floridian, didn't have park tickets. So we watched it over in front of Gasparilla's over at the Grand. And I was just like, well, this is cool. I get to see it one last time with Ben Page was with us, Mallory and Page. But, now, bam, I get to go, I'm going to make a trip and get to see it with the girls. Like, it doesn't happen very often. So, get down there and do it again.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Okay. So another thing that I want to talk about. Well, did you tell me? So you stayed at the Grand too. So how was that? I mean, you have kind of like booking in here, All-Star Sports Grand Floridian. I mean,
it is. But this resort has recently been done as well. They're working on, I think, close to the last couple of buildings that need to be updated, and the rooms have been updated. They have a Mary Poppins theme, which I think is perfect for this resort. I mean, it fits this resort, right? From the very beginning, this should have been more Mary Poppins themed room. They used to sort of had a sort of Alice in Wonderland sort of vibe going on there. I think that this Mary Poppins theme fits it better. I love the rooms. They look so good, so much better than they did before. They're really sort of embracing sort of those light blue tones and whatnot. But there's just, again, the functionality of these rooms is spectacular. You walk in, they've reimagined the bathrooms. That whole area looks different. The showers look clean and fresh and all of that. But the room itself, the decor in the room is really just great. It's really befitting of that resort.
It looks less grandma, like, and this Midwestern, just like, regular guy. Because I got to see him when we went down up for the AUP just a couple months back, and they're a lot airier. They're a lot kind of not bright in the sense of like a Pop Century, like bright, bold colors. They're these. It's just it feels very just. I don't know how you're gonna say it, but I mean, like light blues, whites, just very comforting in there. But it's not somewhat like florally. It's very floral in the old days. Like it's reminded me of my Grandma Ruth. I mean, I'll be honest.
The way it used to. Yeah, I agree. The way it used to look.
Nothing wrong, Grandma Ruth, but I mean, it just wasn't. It was nice to visit, but
I know. So it's like you walk into the bathroom and the mirror is backlit. You look at the they did a an engineered hardwood on the floor, but it's the Grand. So they also did a rug under there too. There's a throw rug in that space. There's like blues and aquas and all of that. The rooms look great. Of course, they've added in all the things that they should add in, the plugs and the USB ports. There's a plenty of those, which was really great. But there are so many little Disney touches. On the lights, there are Disney touches. The light in between the two beds, there are Disney touches. In the artwork, there are a ton of Disney touches. There's a rolled bed pillow, and it shows some penguins and Mary Poppins umbrella in there. There is this thing that I actually really didn't notice until I was laying in bed one evening. And this is why I try to go and stay in all the resorts. So there is a chandelier that has these little glass birds all the way around it that's in the room. Well, one of those birds happens to be a penguin. And it's so cute. Like when you notice these little things, right? That someone thought of all this and did all, I mean, I love that. So I'll put up on my Instagram stories a reel that will show, like walks you through the whole room and shows all the little details. But I really love them. It made me really want to stay at the Grand again. And I'm actually staying there after the podcast cruise. So, or before, I think it's before. But anyways, I liked the rooms that much. And I think that's really saying something because I have my favorite resorts. They do tend to change every now and then, but the Yacht Club is typically, where I really like to stay. But I liked the Grand room enough to book another stay there. So, hey, Grand Floridian, I see you. I'm coming back.
You're putting the heat on me because I haven't booked my pre-cruise stay yet.
Yeah.
Scotty G's there too. So Oh, that's a tough call because Mallory's like, can we stay somewhere with a good pool? And that qualifies.
And the Grand Floridian has 2 good pools.
I
First of
know.
all, there's
Yeah.
the feature pool, which I know families with kids are really, they are drawn to that pool. Let me tell you what pool is my favorite at the Grand Floridian. That big old huge pool that sits in the middle of the courtyard where you can usually get a seat and it's like quiet there during the day. Yep. That's where you'll find me.
That's a pretty sweet pool. All right. So we got some resorts in because we are resort fans, but we got to talk about Tron because we've both gotten to experience Tron. Everybody's getting hyped for this attraction. First of all, I will say, like I said just a few minutes ago, I was able to secure Tron through the virtual queue. Now, I know some people said they've had challenges, and I mean, we had this with Rise of Resistance back in the day. It is, I'll be honest. I mean, I know it's a crapshoot sometimes because they go quickly. You got to be ready to go. The biggest tip that I'm going to give folks for this, and you've probably heard it here before, and you've probably read it in other blogs, is that you want to go in because it goes live at 7 a.m. Because I just did this, a couple days ago. 7 a.m. is like go time to get this virtual queue assignment, but you want to go in probably about, at least 10 minutes prior. And it's going to let you select your party of eligible guests to try to get into the virtual queue. So, for example, I went in at about 6:50 and I was just making sure I was in there, right? Because you never know with Disney IT, they can give you surprises. Not always fun surprises, but they give you surprises. And I noticed that it was me and Jocelyn, one of our agents over at the Magic for Less. I'm like, well, shoot, I'm not riding with Jocelyn. I think she's in Florida. I don't check her. I'm like, sorry, I mean, I like Jocelyn and all, but I'm not trying to get her a virtual queue right now. I'm just worried about me. I just want to ride this thing. I unchecked her and then refreshed it, and then I was good to go. And then you got, I mean, it's like a mission, right? You got to be focused, man. You got to block everything else out. You got to be like an elite chess player or something.
You do.
No distractions. Refresh, boom, I'm in. Make sure you screenshot it 3 times if you got a number, like just to be so you can go to the blue tent if you have to or whatever. The blue umbrella people. So I have all the backup plans. But so I got in and I got a virtual queue. So were you, when you wrote it, did you go through the virtual queue? Did you go individual lightning lanes? And some people do both. I'm cheap, so I only did it once. And
we did virtual queue. We were able to get in the virtual queue as well. Was not challenging. It was, we just did it and it worked for us. I know they go fast. I know that different people have varying successes here. If I had a formula that I could share that would help everyone, I would do it. I really think it's a luck of the draw on that. I think that if you have more than one person in your party, my strategy would be to have one of you trying to do the virtual queue and one of you looking at purchasing individual lightning lanes if you're willing to do that. I think that would be the way that I would want to do it to ensure that I would ride it. It's just a cool, I think the fact that you have that choice is a good move. And I don't think it would hurt. And the worst that can happen is you get 2. You get 2 times to experience
it. It's a great ride. I'd do it twice totally.
And someone is asking too about is there an on-ride photo on Tron? There is an on-ride video.
And it's epic too. It is okay. So let's walk through the experience. We're not going to do the whole show on it, but okay. So you if you got the virtual queue, they scan you through the touch point to make sure that you're valid. It's boarding group number and so forth, just like with Rise of Resistance back in the day. So what was your experience with like pre-ride? So pre-show, like load area. And then we've all heard this discussion about getting on the vehicles, getting, because you do, I mean, I thought it was awesome. I got a story though, but give me your thoughts on like getting on the thing, like the rocket and like, the thing going around your calves.
Well, so I'm glad that you're talking about this because we'll be able to talk about the 2 different things. So first, you're entering the grid, right? That's part of the Tron story. And let me tell you, they must have bought up the country of blue light.
It was always left over from like the Soarin' queue. Those blue squigglies. That's what
there are no more available. So
blue, they tell you that 100 times.
So I've said this on the show, have vertigo, and so I was concerned about riding on the vehicle, but there is a vehicle that allows you to sit. and not do the bike. So I did not do the bike.
Oh, I did.
And so, yeah, I know, right? So you explain your on-ride biking experience.
First of all, it's super visual when you go in. And Allison in here, the live chat saying no spoilers. There are going to be a few spoilers. Not really spoilers though. I mean, it's nothing more than what you see in the commercials. I'm not going to give away anything big that would ruin your experience.
Right. No, you already knew it was blue.
I mean, it's blue and it's a roller coaster. I mean, we're not going to go beyond that other than just give you tips to get a better experience out of it. We were very careful about that with Rise back in the day. And we never want to, hinder anybody's experience with something new. Cause I stay away from videos and stuff myself, but I will say, because everybody obviously knows you get on a light cycle to experience this. That's what's different about, about this ride. And of course I'm a child of the 80s. Not a big movie guy, but first thing I watched when I got Disney Plus when it first launched was Tron, because I'm a video game geek from the 80s. That's my jam. So I watched it. So I was like, this is cool. Like this is right up my alley. Okay. I got called out on this ride. Now I didn't mean to, right? You probably heard the discussion about there's lockers before, and they tell you this like 10 times before you go into the ride, is that you got to take everything and put it in a locker. So I had on a hat. Obviously I always have on a hat. And so you can't have a hat on in the ride. Now there is a little kind of like a glove box for a motorcycle, like right there in front of you between the handlebars. So you can put your cell phone in there and you can put like sunglasses in there. And they told me my glasses were fine. So, you can put that in there. Well, here's the thing. So Pam knows when we went to the media event for Guardians of the Galaxy, they gave us all this like 80s swag. They gave us like a mixtape that was a little speaker. Yes. They gave us like a trucker's cap and they gave us a fanny pack. Okay. So I've had this fanny pack in my suitcase ever since that event, whatever Guardians opened like a couple days ago. I had these I had these like just dad shorts, right? That I've been wearing, I wear them for my Disney vacations, but they have super shallow pockets. And I had my AirPods Pro in my pocket. And a couple times those suckers are so slippery. They almost fell out. Like they were like one time I was sitting at a restaurant and I looked down, my AirPods were like out of my pocket and those things are expensive.
Yeah.
So I started freaking out and I'm like, I'm going to lose my AirPods. So I saw the little Guardians fanny pack. So I'm like, I'm just going to rock it under my shirt. Nobody will ever see it. And plus I had like my migraine medicine. I had my external battery, I had a few things like, I'm gonna make this thing work. And I had a couple pieces of gum. Like I was like, I turned into a purse at that point. I'm like, I'm taking all the stuff because I'm rocking the thing. So anyway, I have this, I totally forgot that I had it on, right? Because I never wear the thing. So I go to get on the light cycle. And I'm like, not jumping over, putting my leg over. And all of a sudden the cast member was like, we got one here, sir. You got to get off the light cycle. We have a fanny pack. Back to the locker. Dude, it was like in Monsters Inc. or something, like where they get the sock on the person. I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, I didn't even know I had the thing on. I never wear it. Like the only thing in it's my AirPods. He's like, sorry, you got to take it to the lockers. So here I am doing the walk of shame. I had to go back across the light cycle. We had to get another cast member to walk me out the secret door, back up the hallway. And I'm like apologizing to every person I come to. I'm like, I am an idiot. I am so sorry. I'm like, but my hat's in a locker up there. Can I just put it in with my hat? Like, oh yeah, say they let me do that. The good news is I was like in row 7 or something. When I came back, I got row 2.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, I won. But anyway, back to the story after getting busted. So don't wear a fanny pack.
That's funny. They've started saying that though when you get on the airplane too. That fanny packs count as one of your 2 personal items. Oh, yes. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I don't wear it. I mean, like I don't have it on right now.
Right. I know.
I'm not that committed to a fanny pack. I'm more committed to my AirPods Pro.
Well, imagine the problems they must have run into that they have to do that now. Someone's walking on with a fanny pack that's like this big. And they're like
one of those Scotty vests. They have like 47 pockets.
Seriously.
Okay, so back to Tron. Okay, so I get on, so what you do is like you straddle it just like you do a motorcycle. Yes. I don't have a motorcycle, like a bicycle, right? So you get on and you got to lean forward and you put your legs in And
Yes.
the thing does come and get you on your calves. Now I had run at this point 2 races, and I just finished a 10K like an hour or 2 before that. So my calves are a little sore, but it didn't hurt at all.
Right.
And you do have to lean forward significantly because you got to lean forward and grab the handlebars. And when you pull them back towards you, that's what pulls the thing back against your back.
Yes.
It's like a lever. And so that's what kind of locks you in, is when you pull the handlebars back towards you. And I just remember I was sitting next to some random like girl, like, I don't know, she was maybe 20 or I don't know how old she was. But I just remember like we're sitting there and like, you're waiting to get ready to go. And I was like, it just hit me. Like, this is the weirdest position to be in, to be getting ready to go on a roller coaster. Like, dude,
True.
I'm face forward, like, like getting ready to and that thing shoots you out of there like a rocket.
It does. It's a quick launch.
But it's a fun coaster. It's super visual. There's lots of sounds. It doesn't go upside down or anything like that. It's fast.
There's air, sort of.
There's air. Yeah, I didn't have
Cool
any
air.
problems. Yeah,
I agree.
like I can't do Guardians that well. I could probably do it once a trip or once a day. But this one I could do multiple times, and it was fun. And I think it's it is a little short, but for me, like where I'm at in my life,
I agree. It was the right length.
I can see it much younger. It's a little bit short, but nope. I was like, it's good. Like I had my fun. Let me off.
I think that will make it so that it's more rideable for more people.
Yeah.
I think if it were much longer, then there would be a group of people who could not ride it.
Because I was counting like, okay, how many gates have we been through?
Right. I know. Like, and I know they have like, I don't know, I've seen out there, they're like, it's this many seconds. And I'm like, should I count for that?
Like, did we win the game? Have we gone through 8, 10, 12? I don't know. What are they, wickets? I forget. Like, have we won croquet yet? I don't know.
Yes, right. I know.
It's a fun ride, and it's so visual. And what's actually fun is when you walk off the ride, you come back outside and you got to pass, you see the outside part of the coaster. I got a huge kick out of just kind of watching the coaster go by a few more times before I left the area, and just watching the people's expression as they go by, because everybody is smiling and just having a good time, because you are literally like just on your belly kind of. It is
right.
like I mean, it was like Superman flying, and it is the craziest thing. But I was watching, like, people were just like, but like happy smiling. It's
for sure. It is. And it's nice to, like, if you don't know this, of course, the walkway over to the circus area, Fantasyland, is open again. So that's nice to see. It really adds so much to the feel of Tomorrowland, especially at night. We had a great room at the Grand Floridian that that looked over to the Magic Kingdom. And at night, it was really cool to see that whole canopy light up in response to the fireworks that were going off. I don't know how much they're synced or not synced, but it seemed like at certain points, it looked like they were playing off each other. But it's a cool thing. It really adds a lot to Tomorrowland. It's a coaster that most people will be able to enjoy and experience. And I think it's something great that the Magic Kingdom needed. I think it will pull people away from Seven Dwarfs and just give something for thrill seekers to do there. I love that it's there. I love that it's a part of the Magic Kingdom now.
Yeah, it's a great addition. And just like William asked, you get, and it's a good reason to have Memory Maker, is that you're going to get a still picture, which is epic. Yes. You're going to get a video as well. And currently they have PhotoPass photographers outside of kind of the entrance to Tron, and if you ask, they'll do a magic shot that
there's a couple different ones. There's a couple great shots.
I got one where it looks like a disc is coming down from heaven. Somebody asked on Facebook if that was a magic shot. Yes, that was a magic shot. That wasn't real. I'm just kidding you. If that was you, I'm just playing with you. But yes, that was not there. But yeah, I mean, and they're just they do a good job. So Memory Maker, I know it's expensive, but you get some pretty epic photos during a vacation.
Sure.
I enjoy them. I got just this morning, I got an alert, like, you got a new photo, 24 hours later. I was like, yes, I was super excited to go in there and check it out. Okay. Dining. We got to talk dining, because
yes,
I think checking out a blog that you wrote a few days ago. And did you guys get to go to Woody's? I want to talk about that first over at Toy Story Land.
We did not do Woody's, but we got to do,
Marcuse's, right?
Yeah. One of my favorites. So I did a few different things. So our goal was we had only had a few days, and they were to do things that we hadn't done. And we did that in a couple of different ways. We got to do Narcoossee's, which I have to say, it's a beautiful restaurant. Again, they're using the colors that are featured in the Grand Floridian. The food is great. They still have the surf and turf, which was the fan favorite there. But I had the scallops, which were fantastic. We tried some of the appetizers. Their calamari is always great. They just had a lot of really good things. If you haven't had a chance, go over to the Mouse for Less and check out the new menu. There's some there's some old favorites, there's some new soon to be favorites, and of course they kept their famous dessert, the almond crusted cheesecake, which has like a berry, like a cherry sort of compote that goes on it. It was really, really good. So definitely check that one out. I also went to, are you ready for this one? Pepe's over in Disney Springs. Now, this is located next to Jaleo, which is Jose Andres' restaurant there, right? This is a counter service location that has all these different sort of pressed sandwiches.
Ooh,
wow.
See, I've never really heard of this place.
I know, right? Because it was closed for a long time. I had eaten at Jaleo, and the food was like spectacular at Jaleo. It's just so good. If you haven't tried that, do that. But this Pepe's is sort of the sandwich shop. So, Mike, I'm going to lay down some possible sandwiches that may be, right.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not even going to try to do the pronunciation of the words here because I'm not that great at it, but I'll give it a shot. Okay. It's Pepito Ternera, which is flat iron steak, caramelized onion, cheese, mayonnaise, and roasted green peppers on this really yummy bread.
Sign me up.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Like, they had some, but they also have a Serrano ham with manchego cheese and tomato fresco on. Again, all the bread there was looking really good. So that sounds really good too. But here's something that's a little, sort of out there, a little different, but I bet it's good. We didn't get to try this one, but I will next time. It has chorizo with manchego cheese and honey. So I think that could be a little salty sweet, right? Yeah. Like when you get pineapple with your ham, right? This would be kind of the same thing.
Totally.
But so many great choices here. If I would say when we were walking around Disney Springs, it was right near Easter. So you can imagine what things were like. This was a small place. There weren't a ton of people there. I don't think that people know about it. It has recently just reopened not that long ago. So I would give this place a try. The food was spectacular and everything we had was really, really good.
Okay, so two things. We're going to keep this between just ourselves here, podcast family.
The podcast, yeah.
Know about Pepe.
It'll be our secret.
Here's a little thought. I think that sandwich places are a great option in the summer because it's like you're going in, May, June, July, August down to Walt Disney World. Poutine. I mean, as much as I love our Canadian friends, and shout out to my great friends that I got to meet that listened to the show in Frontierland on Saturday. A former NFL player got to meet and his wife, who's a teacher. They were awesome. We got to talk some football, got to talk some Disney.
Oh, fun.
Had a great time. I'm going to get him on the show. We're going to have to talk some more, but they live in Canada. So nothing against poutine, but man, poutine in July, or would you rather have that or just
when it's 90 something, poutine's hard. Yeah.
Some days you just need a good, poutine in January. Perfect,
Yes.
But I mean, the sandwich, sometimes you need some nourishment that's not going to make you, your inside temperature 112.
Agreed. And I think that this was it. I mean, it just was, it was really something that we hadn't tried before. And that was really my goal in this space, to do things we hadn't done. And even with all the times that we go to Walt Disney World, there are still plenty of things we have not done. So this fits.
That's just great. I mean, you always go back and find something. I got to see, so I changed my, here's the deal. Like, right. We know we have to have park reservations. So you make them, basically just make them for the morning.
Right.
Because after 2, if you have park hopper, you can go wherever you want.
For sure.
I was going into the studios on Thursday. As my day that I went to go to the expo. I arrived and stuff. And I saw when I was walking into the studios, I only went there because I wanted to get my buffalo chicken grilled cheese sandwich first thing I got there. And so I got that. When I was walking in, they had, they at the ticket booths, they have the little signs. And I saw, they're doing a ad for Garden Rock's concert series at Epcot.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw that there was a band called Foreigner's Journey playing that night. So I'm like, sign me up for that, because that's got to be a cover band for Foreigner and Journey. And so I went over that night. I went to Epcot, and they rocked. Like, this guy and this band was awesome. So I just went there and sat there. And I think that's one of the beauties of, like, just going down. I wasn't going there to go to a concert for a cover band, but it was one of the most fun things I did on this trip. And it was a race weekend, but it was perfect because I just grabbed, a little snack, sat there in the audience, and just took in a concert. I think a lot of times we get so into the planning of all the details is that you just got to kind of let things happen. I didn't think I was going to go to a concert, but it was one of the better things of the trip. And I think this can happen on any trip.
I do too. Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely value in planning for your vacation, right? But there's definitely value in having some times when you just don't, you can't. What you planned is just not going to work. Like, one of the days when we were at the Grand Floridian, it was raining. And I don't mean just a little bit of rain, like a lot of rain. And it wasn't as warm as it had been. So you know how that is. You're sort of like, rain in the summer, never a big deal because it only lasts like 15 minutes, right? And it's 90 degrees. So even if you get wet, you dry off. This was a little different. So then we were sort of like, okay, what do we really feel like doing? And you know what we did? We changed our plans, and we did a monorail loop, and we did some shopping, and we got a snack, and, but we visited those resorts on the monorail. We looked at all the Easter decor, but that was really a fun day. It wasn't what we planned to do. It wasn't even necessarily what we wanted to do until we were doing it. But we did those things. And I feel like it's things like that. It's like the little magic things that you plan on doing that you don't plan on doing that sort of end up surprising you. And the one thing I wanted to mention, because I know we get this question a lot, is the Trader Sam's thing. I will give you our experience. And that was about 45 minutes before Trader Sam's was due to open. Now, this was a busy time, so they aren't always doing this, but we were able to go up, put our name on to get in the virtual queue. And then as soon as they opened, we got called in to go ahead and experience Trader Sam's. And it had been a little bit for us to be there too, because it takes more planning to do that one. So I think if you're there about an hour before and are happy, walking around the Polynesian for a while, then that will give you a good shot at getting in there at Trader Sam's.
Or you can do the secret knock.
Yeah.
It's to the beat of "Do you want to build a snowman?" There you go.
Okay, good. Now I know it. Why didn't you share that with me before?
I know. Well, now it's not such a secret. Everybody knows. By the way, a Sunday right before I left, I went and saw Frozen the sing along by myself. But that is the greatest show.
It's so good. The historians.
Yes, I was waiting for my because I had like 30 minutes until my second of the trip. This is my first thing, and the last thing I ate of the trip was my buffalo grilled cheese sandwich over there at the ABC commissary. So I was in the neighborhood. It was hot. It was sunny, and I'm like, I need to duck in and just get some air conditioning, and it's going to snow in this show. Little did I know, when I came back to St. Louis, it was going to feel like 39. Like,
right.
I didn't have any pants. I was like, what? I had on shorts. Anyway, that is a great show.
It is.
You're right. The historians, they are hilarious. I'm like, and the visuals of that show are so good. That is one of the most, I've said this before, but I still stick to that after seeing it on Sunday. That is one of the most underrated things at Walt Disney World.
I agree. And it's a people eater too. Like, how many people do you think fit in that theater?
A lot. And there was this little girl in front of me. She was probably like 4. Dude, she was eating it up with a shovel. I mean, like when Elsa popped out of the smoke, I mean, boom, her jaw was on the floor. I
love it. I love all the little singers.
Yeah. Oh.
Those are the best, right? Because I mean, as girl parents, we remember those times,
Yeah,
right? They know the words to all the songs, do not need them printed on the screen like the rest of us do. At what age do you quit knowing the words to new songs? Like, a song I knew when I was, a teenager. Yep, can sing along with it now. A
yeah.
song that I've liked in the past, I don't know, 5 years.
Oh
There's a
no.
lot of humming and possibly some incorrect words being stated
Right.
there during
Yeah,
this.
it's a shame. Yeah, I know. It's kind of passed me by. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, just I think we get so worried about headliners sometimes, like, okay, gotta do Slinky Dog, gotta do Rise of Resistance, gotta do, Smuggler's Run. Like
Yes.
it, if you got 30 minutes, you're not sure what to do, hop in a show, go see Indie. I know it's been there forever. Go see it, go see Frozen sing along, go watch the Beauty and the Beast show, because even these most minor things at Walt Disney World, they're still stinking good.
They
Like,
are.
you can
Agree.
overlook a lot of things. Go see the concerts. Like, you might say, "Oh, it's a cover band at Epcot." That didn't why I came. Dude, this guy sounded just like, I mean,
Right.
at the same time, he sounded like the lead singer of Journey, and when he sang a Foreigner song, he sounded just like the guy from Foreigner. It was wild. I was like, this is unbelievable. I mean, I am getting old, so I'm pretty easy to impress, I guess, with that kind of stuff. But I was like, because when I was 12, I'm like, can we just go ride a ride? Come on. Like,
Right.
now I'm like the old dude, like, oh man, rock on. When's your next set? So
Right.
life changes. Anyway, we got to jump out of here and let everybody get going for the weekend. But Pam, sounds like you had a good trip. I had an awesome trip and always a lot of fun.
I did. And congrats to all of our Run Disney racers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
To you, Mike, and Jonathan Buckley, one of our great agents, and his two boys, Ben and Nate, were down
100%.
doing some racing. And we want to give a special shout out to a woman that we have booked, one of our guests, who was are you ready for this, Mike? Winner of the women's division of the 10 miler. That's Emily Wolfarth, and she books with a great agent, Sue Dudkowski. And go, Emily. I mean, the winner. First of all, everyone's a winner,
Yeah.
but to be the winner.
Some people win first.
Yes. Some people do win first. You're right.
So we were looking up like the details of this and all that on the Run Disney side. I'm gonna do a little. I came in 1,074th place. I'm pretty excited for that. Hang it on the wall.
I think, again, I will say everyone is a winner, but Emily was the first winner of the day for the women's division.
1,073 people. She probably saw me. I think, you know what? I think I saw when she crossed the line, because I was just coming over the hump into I was outside of the Epcot parking toll booth, because all of a sudden I'm running, I'm hating life because I did 3 miles ago and it was so humid. And the last 3 miles were torture on this course. You could put all the hills in the last 3 miles, and it's all those up and downs by Epcot. And I saw the fireworks go off, and I'm like, that's weird that fireworks are going off right now. Like, dude, there cannot be people still starting. It was a long time. And so that was probably when she crossed the line. I'm sure they had fireworks, they could take her picture and,
probably was. Yeah, she's from a local area here, Mars, Pennsylvania. So love that. But yes, thanks to everyone. I mean, big congrats to everyone who ran in the Run Disney races last weekend. So
yes, it was a good time had by all. We it's so fun. I mean, I gotta tell you this too. So I'm running the 10 miler, and we go behind France. It was like mile 2 or 3. It was early in the race in Epcot, and we're going behind Ratatouille and coming around the corner and back out onto the promenade. This guy comes by. Hey, Mike, love the show. And so you weren't on the show, but we did this draft last Friday where we drafted like the best.
Okay.
So this was a couple weeks ago. Scott and I did a draft where we drafted the best snacks at Walt Disney World. And he comes up to me, he's like, yeah, I love the show, but man, how do you not pick the carrot cake cookie in your draft? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, thanks for listening. but I don't like carrot cake. I'm like, that's on Scott, so here I am trying to run this race. This dude's just chilling. Like, and I'm trying to have a debate about the podcast at mile 3 in this humid morning running 10 miles. But I mean, I love it, right? It came around wanting to, we're having our own 2-person live show right there in France. It was pretty cool.
I like that you were getting sort of razzed about the choice too.
Sorry about the carrot cake cookie.
I'm with you. I don't like the carrot cake cookie either. I'm with you.
And I really hated it at that point. I could care less.
Right? You're like stupid.
I don't like no way Jose at that point. I was hating everything. I was hating. Why am I out here running 10 miles again? It's 5:28 in the morning. So yeah, that's how that went. But it was great. It's awesome to meet listeners. Man, I was having a live show right there with the list. It was like taking a live call. It was like a Sunday night. It was great, but in person. It was like a FaceTime call. But we were 10 steps apart from each other. Anyway, we got to get out of here. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll have another great show on Monday. And Monday, we have a great show scheduled. It's going to be a wild one. It's a Walt Disney World vacation where a guest visited all of the Walt Disney World resorts in one day. All of them in one day. Pam, are you listening? All resorts one day. How did you do that?
I don't understand this. What's happening?
This guest went to all the Walt Disney World resorts in one day. You have to tune in to find out how and what and the circumstances.
Now I'm like, I'm going to take this challenge on because this sounds like it's up my alley.
I know. Well, he didn't sleep in all the resorts in one day, but he was at all the resorts. So we're going to talk about that on Monday. It's a great trip report. So join us for that. But until then, don't forget the Magic for Less Travel sponsors our shows each and every show. And you can support the show by booking your next vacation with the great agents over at the Magic for Less. Just swing by the website today over at themagicforless.com. Let me tell you something you might want to do. When you go over to themagicforless.com, we want you to fill out that quote form so we can help you plan a great vacation. But if you want to have some fun today over the weekend, go to themagicforless.com. And at the top there at the header, there's a tab that says blog. And you can click on the blog and read all these great articles. Pam wrote a great article that we were using today to kind of get some notes and talk about stuff to plan a great summer 2023 vacation. Go down, see the great nighttime spectaculars, check out the new hotel rooms, ride Tron, all this good stuff. So if you want to get jazzed for a fun vacation, might even have one on the books. It'll just get you more excited for that trip. Or if you're thinking about going down, check it out. There's lots of other blog articles over there. So just go to themagicforless.com. We'd love to help you plan that great trip. Doesn't have to be Walt Disney World. It could be Disney Cruise Line, Disneyland, Adventures by Disney. We'll take care of you. So again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to the patrons of the Be Our Guest podcast. You make all these shows possible. Thank you so very much for that. And our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. If you'd like to join us, we're waiting for you. Come on over. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest podcast. Pam mentioned she's going to have some content on her Instagram this week for you. So check that out. She's going to have a story. So check that out at TMFLT Pam. Is that correct for Instagram?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
So check that out. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. Tons of content there from the springtime surprise weekend last weekend. And I did these little things on my reels that I think you might want to check out. I just decided when I'm walking around, whenever I remembered, I just record 15 seconds of video, whether I was on the Skyliner, on a bus, walking around the Magic Kingdom, walking around Pop Century, walking around the boardwalk, walking to the corrals. I just took 15 seconds of video here and there and just then compiled them into a reels. And so if you want a little shot of Walt Disney World, you're missing your favorite place, check those out. So just go to my reels at Be Our Guest Mike and give me a follow. And I'd love to talk to you there. Anyway, we're going to be out of here. We'll have a live show this Sunday night too. Scott will join us. And actually, I think it's just me. I think Scott's in DC. It's hard to keep track of everybody on this show. People are coming and going, and
people keep doing stuff.
But I'll be here. I'll take your calls. You and I. It'll be like running that mile 3 with my listener that was telling me about the carrot cake cookie. Only we're just going to be on the phone this time, and it'll smell a lot better because I probably stunk. It was hot and humid, so it'll be fun. So join me Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central, Facebook and YouTube. Lots of distance. Okay, so we're out of here. Have a great weekend. For Pam, I'm Mike. Wish you a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. That was a weird ending.
It was a good show, though.
It was a good show. That was crap. Let's end this thing. Okay. So is Ricky joining us, I think?
Yeah, she said that she was.
free. I love there was no edits, even though the dog barked a couple times, but who cares? Because Pam.
I didn't even hear it. So
Yeah, see, I keep my dog outside. Oh, there's Ricky. 44-1. Hang on, Ricky, because I'm saving. Saving.
I know now that I've said that I was going to do the reel, because then that will force me to do the reel.
I know. Well, those little clips, they're getting good.
I know the resort ones, especially, like,
yeah, and all I'm doing just throwing like little. I'm not even editing anything.
We've been uploading some to our Google photo albums too, the resort ones. So look at those. Like after I do it, I save the video.
That's a good idea.
Then we've been throwing them up, especially the resort ones, because I know that people like to see the resorts.
I love resorts. That's what I led with on my last one I made last night. It was Pop Century, just kind of walking by the pool. I just ate a bit of honey right before we started recording. I think it yanked out my back tooth. Because I got a new muff. See this? I finally got a new muff. This old one was so nasty.
Oh, yeah.
This old one.
Ew.
Look how nasty that
Oh
thing
my
is.
God, please don't show that to anyone ever again.
Yeah. So I got a new one from this place called Sweetwater. It's an audio store. And because it's called Sweetwater, they send you a bag of candy when you buy something.
It's like when you order from Sticker Mule and they send you the hot sauce.
Here's
Oh,
sweet
see, I
one.
got an order from them.
Oh,
See, I got a bit of honey. So
Oh,
I love bit of honey.
I almost lost a molar when I was
Oh my
right before we
God.
started recording.
Here, sweet water means beer. So
Yeah, it does. That Sweetwater 420 is a good beer.
yeah, Brian loves that beer. Yeah.
Oh, this is an audio company. Like they sell microphones and stuff.
Well, hi guys.
Hi.
How are you?
We're good.
Good.
We're like really perky because it's like
I got a
Not
venti
more
coffee
than
because
that.
I've had a little girl wake me up this morning.
I'm having a regular
At
coffee.
at 4:30 in the morning to feed her, and then again at 6:30.
Girl, that is very close to the time I get up every
I've been
morning.
awake.
I get up at 5 a.m. every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
before usually.
We get up really early.
I got an extra shot of espresso in mine so that I can stay awake
We
longer.
got stuff to do.
Yeah. So anyway, hi.
Hello. Hang on. Why is it giving me the princess now? Hang on. I'm trying to find my race results. Now I want to see what I did in the 10K.
Oh, okay.
I don't want princess. I want
All right.
springtime.
I am
Yeah,
ready.
Pam just gave a shout out because one of our agents
heard.
was the women's winner.
The winner.
That's what I make sure I didn't know.
Everyone's a winner, but sometimes you're the
Someone's an actual winner. Yes. I was actually watching the end of the show because I was sitting here going, God, it's taking them a while. Where are they?
I know, we just kept yakking because I came in 1,024. So I want to see what I did in the 10K because that's my better.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I was sitting here going, I guess I should see where they're at in the podcast because it's been a while.
Show. Okay, here we go. Hang on. 10K results 2023 springtime surprise.
Okay.
Bib number was 314, by the way. That's kind of funny.
That is funny.
Let's see. I came in 36th in the 10K.
Wow.
In the
Very
old
cool.
dudes running division.
Wow.
I came in 313th.
Is that
for all
what they
guys.
abbreviated? Old dudes running division?
That's
Yes.
what I call it. Old dudes running.
There you
And
go.
I came in 475th out of 9,858 people. I'm
Wow.
calling booty.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Almost killed me. I could hardly
Yeah.
walk Saturday night.
Oh,
That was all I had, dude. My tank was empty.
that's all right.
But I got the picture without a one in it because I
There
saw
you
that
go.
over around that corner. I was like, oh, there's a 59 on that clock.
You're like, I'm going.
I'm still sore from that.
Going for it.
But I got the picture. Almost hurled.
Oh,
Anyway. Okay,
that's
so
right.
let's
Awesome.
listen up.
Questions.
Writing an article right now
I'm
for the
so
house for us. So, you know.
upset that we had beautiful weather last week and now it's horrible again. It's
right.
horrible again.
Yeah, but we had bad weather yesterday, but now it's 65. It's super windy still. Dude, that plane landing yesterday was so windy. We were all over the plane. I don't even get nervous flying anymore. And I wasn't nervous, but man, I was like, we might miss the runway.
Yikes.
Because I was listening to air traffic. I was so bored coming home yesterday. I have live air traffic control, so I was listening to them as we were coming in, and they kept telling the pilot there was a wind shear warning coming in. I was like, oh crap.
Oh,
And they
no.
usually set it down hard when it's windy.
Yeah, dude,
Got to make sure that landing sticks.
Yeah, well, we were coming in like we were not even like we weren't over the runway at first, but I guess like because the wind was blowing crosswind, like it's like one of those videos, right? Like at the very end, we came into the runway. I was like, "Are we landing in the grass?"
Yes.
Like we are not over the runway, and then boom, we were on the ground and on the runway. So I was like, all's good. Okay, then the luggage thing was such a nightmare.
What happened?
No, you know how Southwest is. They do like surge landings, right? Everybody landed at the same time, and we only have 2 conveyor belts at our airport.
Yeah,
We have 1 and 2. It's like
Yep.
there were 12 flights that landed at the same time.
Yep.
So all the belts, these like standing room only, trying to fight for your luggage.
Yep.
And then, of course, I parked in the cheap $7 lot that's furthest one away.
Yeah.
I
So.
ride like the church van to it.
Yep.
So like 1,000 people trying to get onto like one church van, but I got on there. I squeezed
Hey,
in.
there you go.
I paid the dude $10 to get on.
Nice.
It's supposed to be free.
Nicely done.
I was like, hey, dude, I need to get in here.
I need to get
No
in
work
this.
to do.
Tipping is a real thing
That was, yeah, it's exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, totally.
for a reason.
It's true.
So, all right, let's answer questions and get rocking.
All
Okay, remember,
right.
This is Wednesday, so we're going backwards.
I got it.
Okay.
Chuck
here we go.
wagon is quick service. Okay.
2272. Everybody good? Here we go.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Apparently Mike's up.
Wow.
Had to get that
That
out.
just happened.
Yeah, I did.
I wasn't muted. Sorry, my bad. Okay.
He did what he did, folks.
He did what he did. Yeah.
I do have a cough button, but I didn't
Oh
hit
my god.
Decisions were made.
it. Hang on. What? I have a cough button. I just didn't get over to it. Okay, here we go. 2272. Welcome to episode 2272 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week, and congratulations to everybody getting back from the springtime surprise race weekend. Hope you had a great time. Hope you've recovered from the humidity from the races, especially on Sunday. Man, that was like running through some Campbell's chicken noodle soup, but we made it. And I saw lots of smiles and great medals, and we got the miles in, and I think everybody had a good time. We had some really fast runners, and then we had some of us that were just having a good time, like me, and it was a good time. And I got to say, I got to meet just a ton of listeners of the show, you know, whether it was over at ABC Commissary or walking around Disney's Hollywood Studios or in Frontierland at the Magic Kingdom, in line for Tron. I got to meet a couple of different groups of listeners just waiting out my virtual queue time over at Tron, or just all over the place. And people were just so kind to come up and say, we listened to the show, tell Pam, Ricky, and Scott I said hello. And it just means even running the race. I'll talk about this on Friday, but you know, I had a conversation. It was like a rolling live show. It's just so kind that folks take the time to listen to our podcast and come up and say hello and got to take some selfies. It meant the world to me. So everybody who came up and said hello, thank you so very much for that. And can't wait to do it again when we get down for the podcast cruise pre and post here in late June, early July. But right now we're back in the studios and we got to get to work because that's what we do. And it's time to answer listener questions. So joining us today from the mouseforless.com, we have Ricky. Ricky, a lot of listeners say hello. And congratulations, by the way, on baby Lucy. A lot of folks said that too.
Oh, well, hello and thank you. So she may or may not be asleep in my lap right now. So
This is also my nap time right now because we're recording early, just for the record. But go ahead.
So hopefully she doesn't wake up, but she may or may not be, with me at the moment, just passed out. So yeah.
All right, good stuff. So things going well down in Atlanta.
Everything's going great. Yeah. Just having family in town, to meet Lucy. So that's good. Had Brian's family in town this past weekend. My brother's coming into town in a couple weeks. So my parents are coming back into town following that. So it's a lot of family and a lot of visiting, and it's all good. And everybody's getting good baby Lucy time. So it's all good.
Yeah, I like having family come by sometimes, not all the time, but more
Yeah.
power to you.
Yeah, well, they don't have to stay with you. They have to stay with me. So
That's even worse.
I did not say the things that were reflected by Mike Roman are not reflected by Ricky Niblet, and because she knows her mother listens to this podcast.
I'm just kidding. I mean, she knows. Like, I love my dad. Your mom knows my dad. I love my dad, but I love my dad when he's at his house. And we talk on the phone. So I mean, I like when he comes over because
the things reflected by Mike Roman are not reflected by Ricky
I love
Niblet.
my dad. My dad was my best man in my wedding. And don't get me wrong, I love my dad, but I don't want him sleeping at my house. Like, we both have our own houses, and that's why. That's how God intended. It's just how it is. I've never had parents that lived out of town, so I don't think I could deal with that. Like, I don't want to stay with them. I'm an old dude, and I don't want them staying with me. Like, that happened when I was in my teens and when I was a little kid.
Got it.
Moved on.
Moved
Doesn't
on.
need to happen again. So anyway, also joining us, you help us out, please. Pam Forrester Coder, the Magic for Less Travel. Pam, I don't know where you fall on this, but I like my personal space.
I think that this is a question I don't want to answer in any way, shape, or form. Yes to all the things. I mean,
Yes,
it's
all
all
things.
good. No, I don't mind having visitors at my house most of the time. Really don't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, we don't see, the good news is the one spare bedroom that we had, I am now, it's a podcast studio. So it's all good.
Yeah.
When Paige comes home, she doesn't even really have a place to stay other than the couch. So it's, you can't stay very long.
You're like, too bad for you.
Don't get any idea. Exactly. We love you, Paige, but we love you in Chicago too. So
Oh my gosh.
we love her here. We're just kidding, Paige. If you want to come back to Mizzou, SEC, baby, let's go. But we love UIC. Okay, so let's jump in. We're going to answer some listener questions. So our folks that are tuned in live on Facebook and YouTube, feel free to drop those in the comments, and we'll get right to those. But right now, let's head to the inbox. And Catherine's got a question. It's about Run Disney. So I'm going to this one first because I'm still in the mood from this past weekend. It says, hey, Mike and crew, I just registered to run the 10K during marathon weekend with a friend. We're going to do a quick trip and go down Wednesday night and leave on Saturday. The race is on Friday, and we're planning to also go to the parks that day. How do you recommend that we spend Thursday? I know that we have to go to the Race Expo and pick up our bibs. From listening to your other shows, it sounds like this could take a long time. Is it worth it to buy a park ticket for that day too? I would love to hear what you would recommend to spend our time on Thursday. Thanks for all you do, Catherine. Okay, so they're going to do the 5K race on Friday. So you're going to have to get your bibs on Thursday, like she said. Now, I will tell you about the expo. You could probably get in and out in an hour to an hour and a half if you are not a shopper. I don't know how big of a shopper you are. Now, here's the wrinkle in the whole deal. Marathon weekend is the biggest weekend of all the race weekends. And so they will be utilizing the virtual queue. So this is the thing that kind of takes, I hate this. I mean, and it hates, if Pam always said with her students, and I said this with my sixth graders too, hate is a terrible word. Please don't use it. It's too strong.
But here you hate it.
I do hate the virtual queue because I don't care if I hurt its feelings. It's not a thing. It's not a person. Because here's the deal. It takes, it can mess up your whole day you're going to the expo, right? Because I think it was at 8:30 for the springtime surprise. It was, because that was the time you had to get on the app and push the button to join the virtual queue over at ESPN Wide World of Sports. And then you get assigned a time as when you can go. You get your group, just like, with Tron or, Guardians, whatever. And so I got mine. I can't remember what group number was, but it was like 145 minutes from that time, which was like 8:30 in the morning. But the thing is, you could get like a time in the mid-afternoon, so if you get that and you wanted to go to a park that day, it takes, I like it the old days. Like if you wanted to sacrifice time and just go there and be like the first in, but give up like an hour of waiting in line initially, but just be the first wave in, shop, get your bibs and get out. You could be out of there by 11 o'clock and be in a theme park for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And that would be a good use to get a ticket and go to the parks. But if you get a virtual queue time that says you're going to go to the queue, you're going to go to the expo at 3:30, that's terrible. Like, and here's the other thing, how important it, and this is only for the official Run Disney merchandise. So this would be for things like hoodies. This is all the Run Disney stuff that'll say marathon weekend, like 10K, 5K, half marathon, full marathon, dopey, goofy, all that stuff, hats, Like this hat would be there. Anything that says Run Disney on it would be in this building. It's at the arena. So you got to have the virtual queue to get in. And I'm sure, I don't know. Pam, do you think most people even, I would say if you're signed up, you're probably going to want to go to this. I will be honest. I went even for springtime this past weekend. I didn't buy a thing. There was nothing I needed. I mean, but I go all the time. I got a lot. I have so much gear. If I come, and I was already coming home with 4 t-shirts from the races. Like my wife wants to kill me because of how many shirts I have in the closet. So I wasn't going to buy another one.
I think that a lot of people do want to buy things, especially if this isn't a race that they do all the time, or it's one of their first Disney races or whatnot. I think that's going to impact it. But the other thing I wanted to say on this subject is, how many days have you already paid for? Because with all Disney tickets, once you hit about that 4, if you've already paid for 4 days, and especially if you've already paid for 5 or more, look at how much it actually is to add another day to your tickets. It may not be that much. And it ends up, you know what I mean? So it sort of is a wash. For me, of course, I'm always going to say I would rather have more days than not enough. I understand that. And I understand all the good points that you brought to it too. But I just wanted to bring that part up too. But yeah, I mean, I think most people are going to shop to some degree.
I agree. I mean, I think you're going to want to do it. You just don't know. I mean, because you could get a virtual queue time early where you could be out of there by noon, and then you could, really do a park that whole day. But if you get like a 3:30 or 4:30 time, that really, I guess you could go to the park early that morning, hop out, go to the expo, and go back to the park that night. It's the difference between 1 day and 2 days in the park. I guess if you're there, while in Rome, go to the park. I mean, it sounds like you kind of want to, Ricky. I would. Or maybe make it a pool day, your hotel. Maybe upgrade your resort from maybe a value to a moderate or moderate to a deluxe.
Yeah, I was thinking it'll depend on what time they get through the virtual queue, to be perfectly honest, which, kind of stinks because you want to have your ticket, ahead of time. So I guess it depends on how badly you really want to go to the parks. You could do like a Disney Springs day. Brian and I have done that. We've had a lot of fun doing just a fun Disney Springs day where we run around and grab, I would say in our case, we were grabbing all the snacks and treats that we possibly could. So, maybe that's an option for you. I don't know. You're running the next day, so maybe don't eat them all in one day, but, take them home with you or something. But, that's an option too. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how badly you want to go in the parks. And like Pam said, how many days you already have tickets for. Because if it's, after that 4-day time slot, yeah, it's like ridiculously inexpensive to kind of add on extra days at that point. So
it looks like for her, just be a difference between a 1-day ticket and a 2-day ticket. So
yeah,
there's not much of a difference, like you're not getting a huge savings until you hit like day 4.
No, that's true.
Start getting the savings, but I mean, you're there. But I mean, if you're running, I might just like upgrade my resort and do a pool day.
That's true, because you're going to go to bed early anyway.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying like maybe make it a Disney Springs day, or like if you don't want to do a lot of walking around, yeah, the pool day is probably a really good option as well.
Like you and your friend, like if you're staying, say at Riverside, like maybe upgrade to like a wilderness lodge and just chill at the pool there and like get dinner at Geyser Point early or something. I mean, that's a good day.
That's a good option.
It might be about the same cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot less. It's a lot nicer on your legs as a runner.
Valid point.
I mean, dude, how far is it to walk to Geyser Point? A couple 100 yards.
Yes.
I mean, it's chilling too. I'm just saying, experienced runner speaking. I'm just telling you.
For sure.
So just something to think about. I mean, going to the parks both days, it could be done. Absolutely. I mean, you just have to hop out and go to the expo. You can be in and out of the expo easily in 2 hours if you don't shop a lot, hour and a half. But there is a lot of walking. That's the thing. It takes a little bit to get there on the bus. Where the bus drops you off, it probably takes 20 minutes to walk all the way back to where you get your bib. It's further back in Wild World of Sports than you think. And you got to walk out and you got to do your shopping. So
it's a big area. It's a really, and they sort of have you walking all over the place.
They do. It's no joke. I mean, I guarantee you walk for at least a mile. It's probably closer to 2 miles while you're there. Like, and that's, they're totally messing with runners when they do that. I mean, seriously, you're all over that place. Okay, Sean's got a question about Trons. Here we go. It says, happy Monday, BOGP crew. Actually, it's Wednesday, Sean. Parts of my family are taking a girls' trip coming up at the end of May. Their first day there is at the Magic Kingdom, and they have a 10 a.m. reservation at the Crystal Palace. They're planning on grabbing a Tron virtual queue at 7 a.m., fingers crossed, but are worried it might conflict with their reservation time. If it does conflict, can they cancel it and book again at the 1 p.m. slot, or are other possible options to talk to a cast member available? Thanks for your guidance, Sean, up in the mitten. Pam, how would they handle this? So they already would have an established ADR for Crystal Palace. It looks like at 10 a.m. for breakfast. But then say the virtual queue slot comes up and it's while they're eating breakfast. What's the procedure there?
So there have been a little bit of changes in the way that they've handled this, but there's really been no change to the official policy. And what you're going to want to do is when you're at the Magic Kingdom, if this becomes an issue, just go ahead and visit one of those Blue Umbrellas guest experience team. They will be able to offer you the best advice on what to do and how to handle that. So that's always your safest bet. I think I think what happens is, here's just a little of my editorializing. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm here.
Lots of folks are going to read on the socials. So-and-so did it this way. So-and-so did it this way. This site is reporting that this happens. This site is reporting that this happens. And then 2 weeks later, they'll be like, Disney closed a loophole and whatever. What actually is that sometimes, as we all know, there's a difference between what happens in practice to maybe a couple of people as opposed to what the official ruling is. And because this is a Disney issue, I think it's always better to go right to the source, right? Now, we're all about telling you, like, here's what's happening right now. But in this particular instance, I think your best bet is going to be to visit with one of those guest experience team members, because those cast members have access to actually give you the good advice that will help you with things like this. And I think that's always a good thing.
That's true.
Yeah. What I would say too is, like, go there and just be excited about the experience, right? We're so excited. We finally get to ride Tron, but we got this, we've been looking forward to having this great breakfast over at Crystal Palace, and it looks like they're going to be at the same time. And then they're going to work with you. That's a good point. Because they are there to enhance the guest experience team. They want you to have a positive guest experience.
For sure.
They're going to work with you. That's a good point. Okay. Tracy's got a question, and I think it's about virtual queues as well. She says, my family and I are staying at the Polynesian DVC at the end of April. We're excited that we can take advantage of the extended evening hours for deluxe guests, but wondered how it worked with the virtual queues for Tron and Guardians of the Galaxy. Are these rides open during the extended hours? If so, is there a regular queue for these rides after the park closes today, guests, or do we need to sign up for the extended hours virtual queue? Thanks so much for the positivity and Disney information you put out each week. Tracy, she's one of my great guests over at the Magic for Less, and really appreciate her and her family. So Pam, do you know, because you are a deluxe guest many times. I mean, you did say at All Star Sports the other day. But...
I know. And there is a virtual queue for those awesome extra hours. Let me just tell you, we did those recently, and they are so great, really and truly. They are worth their weight in gold. If you have the ability to stay at one of the deluxe resorts, even for a couple nights of your vacation, consider it. It's really worth it. And there is, I believe it is at 6:00, the virtual queue opens up for the extended evening hours, and you can enter at that time. And by the way, just going to give you the big heads up that joining the virtual queue at that time is much easier than joining it at the other times. You have so many less people in those pool of people that have even accessibility to that. So, and here's another thing. The My Disney Experience system actually is smart enough to notice and to know if you have a reservation at one of the deluxe or deluxe villa resorts before it even lets you enter the virtual queue. So when you're choosing your party, this is why it is very important to have everyone on your reservation, because if you're not listed as being there as part of the party, staying at one of the deluxe or deluxe villa resorts, you will not be eligible for the virtual queue. They're getting really smart there at the Disney. I'm just going to say that.
That's true.
They're leaning on that app a lot more, like for your AP verification now. They're not asking for that old plastic card anymore. They're just like, hey, show me under there's like a little tab that says it was like
Yeah.
memberships, I think, or something like that for your discounts.
Yep.
Like it could show if you're a DVC member. It could show if you're a Disney Visa. Like Disney Visa's on there. You don't have to show your card. You can show
Oh,
it.
that's nice.
I know it shows like you're an AP holder and when it expires.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's getting more functional. It really is smart enough to see some of these things where I would not have trusted it maybe perhaps in the past.
Right.
It is getting smarter in this space. And the virtual queues are a thing that they heavily lean into. So.
And it worked. I mean, the virtual queue worked for me. I mean, knock on wood, it won't the next 10 times because I just said that out loud onto a microphone. But, I got on Tron, no problems on Saturday. So that was fun. Okay. Alfred's got a question. He wants to know if the high tea at the Grand Floridian has returned, and it has not.
It has not. In that space, though, in the afternoon, they're doing some really fun stuff. That's where they're doing sort of like the painting classes at the Grand Floridian, or other things that you may have seen, other activities at different resorts around there. When we were there this past week, they were doing the painting activity, and they do some really cute stuff. So we'll look forward to that. But it is a really small venue. I'm sure it's sort of labor intensive because there's the pouring of the tea and the putting down of the finger sandwiches and then the scones and then this and then that. So it's a really small space. I hope that we see that return at some point, though.
That was still, I mean, this is Mike Rallman. This is Mike in the Midwest saying that was one of the most fun things I have ever done at Walt Disney World. I did not want to go to this. I mean, I will be honest. Like, we booked that. It was all of us, bunch of us around this table, and I was going to high tea. I could have cared less, to be honest, but I was going because my friends were going. And that was the wildest fun thing. And dude, those sandwiches were good. I could have.
They were really good, right?
That was so good.
For sure.
Like, sir, how do you like your tea? I'm like, I have no idea. I get sweet tea at McDonald's. She's like, oh, we're gonna have to work on you, sir. We did, and it was good. So we had an understanding. Okay, next question's from Jacob, and he says, listener question: the great AP games plus DCL. And he says, to the Mouse Dream Team, so many of you to name, plus babies, plus fur babies, but you all are awesome. I love that.
I like that we're the Mouse Dream Team. I think that's a great nickname for the four of us.
A little inflated, but we'll take it.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with it. He says, I'm anxiously prepping for the great AP games on April 20th to snag 5 lapsed annual passes for my family. I will talk about the best case scenario, as this is more of a Disney Cruise Line question. Now he has me totally confused. Okay. Best case scenario, I'm hoping to snag annual passes, activate in June for our already planned trip in 2023, and quickly start planning a cruise for 2024 in May. Since we are hopeful AP holders again, we're looking at a 3 to 4 night cruise plus a 3 to 4 night stay at Walt Disney World. This will be our first Disney cruise, and we'll have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old at the time of the cruise. I'm going to stop there. That's the perfect age for kids going on a cruise. They will lose their minds. They will love it. I mean, any age really is, but oh my gosh, those kids are going to be so lucky. Okay, here's what he says. I'm weighing night options and ships. Should we do a 3-night on the Wish, a 4-night on the Wish, or a 4-night out of Fort Lauderdale? Obviously, the price is lower on the Magic and can get 4 nights at the best rate, but I really am sold on the Wish. Is 3 days enough? It's a big price jump between the 3 and 4 night on the Wish. Is the drive to Fort Lauderdale too long? Remember, this is our first cruise. Mike, expect a quote, an email quote after this question airs. And even if the odds are ever in my favor on April 20th, Jacob's out in Arkansas. Well, Jacob, I look forward to you, and may the force be with you.
Yeah.
On April 20th. This is going to be a day that's going to go down in Disney history.
Oh yeah.
Because people are asking, I've gotten lots of email. How's it going to go on April 20th? I'm like,
don't know, but expect the worst.
They've never restarted selling annual passes. I don't have any idea. We'll see. Yeah, you know what? But the DVCs didn't go too bad. So I have a better feeling.
There were some delays.
Yeah, but by the end of the day,
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed to work itself out. I'm not saying it. I don't know. Anyway, back to don't get me roped in on this. Back to Jacob's question. He's looking at a 3-night, 4-night, both on the Wish, or going on the Magic out of Fort Lauderdale for a 4-nighter. And these are all good options. Ricky, you want to weigh in first? What would you say?
Oh man. So how far is it from Disney to Fort
It's a
Lauderdale?
while. It's like
That's what I was thinking.
We went, because we sailed
Like
out of
3
Miami, which is
3 plus hours.
Yeah, because isn't it near Miami-ish?
It is.
Yeah, okay. That's what I
It's
thought.
a boring drive.
And traffic can be
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
because I just did this. We drove to
I've
Miami
been-
from Orlando. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that soon too, actually. I'm so looking forward to that drive. So with that being said, I think personally I would do the Wish, the 4-night. The 3 nights just not enough for a cruise. It's just not. I mean, I would love to say to do the 3-night because I know it's so much more of a savings, but that extra day is so huge when you're on a cruise. So I would say to do the 4-night on the Wish, just because Fort Lauderdale is so far away. If you were able to fly into Fort Lauderdale, yeah, then I'd say, oh, go ahead and take the that cruise on the Magic. But I think I'm gonna go with the Wish on the 4-night.
I'd say the 2 4-nighters are the top 2 options here. Okay, because the 3-night. Man, let me ask you this. I've come to this conclusion over the last year. 3-night cruises, I always try to figure out who those 3-night cruises are for. And I don't think they're necessarily for first-time cruisers, who I think they're for. I think they're for veteran cruisers that just want, like, they need a little hit. Like, they need a quick weekend. They just, they're Walt Disney World, but they just want to get on the ship for just a little, this is going to be their 12th cruise. And they just want to go for just a little hit of Disney cruise. Like, they've done it a bunch of times. They just need to, go to their favorite lounge, see their favorite show, sit on a sun deck for a little bit, go to Castaway Cay for a day. Do you think that's kind of a good use of that 3-day cruise? I think that's kind of maybe the market for a 3-nighter.
I do. So we did a 3-night cruise with our agents on the Wish, and I think that all of us agreed it was worth doing. It didn't feel super short to me just because I knew what I was getting into, and we get to cruise often, so it felt good. Like, I went in there, I got to see everything I wanted to see again on the Wish, and I knew I was going to be back on the Wish. So that was good. I think that they're probably not for new cruisers except to test the waters. If you really want to see, if you're worried about a cruise, if you're thinking maybe a cruise isn't that great for you, or one of those things. So I think it's a good testing point, or a good refresher. Maybe we should think about the 3 nights and those kind of things. So 4 nights does give you a little more, and I'll tell you why. In particular, because you typically have a sea day on the 4-night cruise, and that gives you the ability to do things like go to brunch, or just have a leisurely day around take advantage of all the activities that happen on the ship. So I think that's why that 4th night is a lot better.
Yeah, I would try to do the 4-night if you can. And even if you got to drive to Lauderdale, it is 3 hours. It's not the most pleasant thing, but here's the thing. I'm trying to decide, like, is it worth? Would I drive the extra distance to Lauderdale for the savings? Because the Magic is a nice ship. It's not the Wish. It's a great, especially if you're a first-time cruiser.
I love the Magic.
The Magic is a great ship, and you just don't know, right? You're not going to say, well, the Wish has this, and this. You've never been on a Disney Cruise Line ship. Everything's going to be a new, exciting experience,
right?
Just because it's great, and you're going to get a whole extra night on the ship for probably less money. And 3 hours. Again, I used to drive 15 to Walt Disney World with no problem. So I would not shy against that one. So I would look at that, but definitely go with one of the 4-night cruises. I think you'll really enjoy the extra days. You get more options. So that's what All right. Next question is from Julianne. She says, "Hey, Mike, I hope you're doing well. My family, husband, 7-year-old son, and me are regulars at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. We're planning our first Disneyland vacation with my sister and her family for this June through the Magic for Less. Thanks for all your help." Thank you, Julianne. "My sister's kiddos have never been to Disney, and they are counting on me for app planning and reservations. I'm fairly confident with planning and dining reservations for my family of 3, but I'm a little anxious about making reservations for 8 people, 4 adults, 4 kids, ages 2 to 8. I want to schedule 1 advanced dining reservation per day so we have a chance to rest, regroup, and have a bit of air conditioning. I have been experimenting on the Disneyland app with finding dining reservations and see fewer options for a party of 8 than parties of 3 to 4. How should I approach this without having my sister have to worry about it? I could get her login info if needed and try to get 2 reservations for parties of 4, but I know this is a bit of a gamble. Do you have any any recommendations? Thanks so much, Julianne. All right, Pam. So how would you go about getting these reservations for 8 at Disneyland? Because I think they are a bit more challenging out there just because the pool of reservations is smaller.
They are, and that is a challenge. And breaking yourself into 2 groups, either 2 groups of 4 or, one group of is like 6 and another group of 2 or whatnot is really going to be your way to do it. You may want to consider calling because the Disneyland reservations are typically not quite the mad dash that Walt Disney World reservations are, except there's a few ones that are sort of, popular, I will guess. So when the phone line's open, they'll be able to easily help you with 2, or you can do 2 sign-ins too. And do that. But you could have 1 sign-in open on your computer and another one open on your phone, be signed into 2 different My Disney Experience accounts, and that works really well too.
Absolutely. Good. And your family's very lucky to have you because obviously you're going to be able to navigate the lay of the land with Disneyland Resort, and I'm sure you're going to pick some awesome reservations too. I hope you can get Blue Bayou. I'm just saying, for somebody that had never been,
yeah,
that was the ultimate. I know it's super, and I'm saying this is a super hard ADR to get. Like, I'm picking the hardest one.
It is.
But for somebody, if you want to impress somebody, and I don't know how big of a Disney fans like your rest of your family is, but when I was sitting in there having that Monte Cristo and my Hurricane, I mean, I was sitting there also with my family and with my best bud and his family at the table and just watching the boats go by and pirates. And I'm like, this is it, man. I couldn't believe I was there. Like, it was just so good. And if I could have one of those Monte Cristos today for lunch. So good. Okay. Next question's from Kim. Hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and little Lucy.
Hey, Lucy's getting questions. Well, she's here, so let me see if she has an answer. I mean, she hasn't been to the parks yet, but she may have an answer for you. So
Scott didn't even get a call out on this one.
No, little Lucy did. We're good.
Okay, she says, my husband and I are doing an adults only trip and are staying at Old Key West.
Lucy may not be of help with an adults only trip.
We've never been there before and are wondering what area you would recommend we ask for, as I know this is a big resort. We plan to do lots of dining at Disney Springs. Second and most importantly, as I happen to know Olivia's is one of your favorites. We've also never been there. Do you have any breakfast or dinner recommendations at Olivia's? And final question is for Pam. What is your absolute favorite lounge on property?
Ooh.
Thanks so much for all you do. You keep us all sane between vacations. Kim is in Ontario, Canada, near the Great Niagara Falls. So how cool is that? And you guys are getting ready to stay at one of my, I'm not DVC or anything like that. And this is the original DVC resort. It is awesome. I mean, there's just Old Key West. I've said this before. It is so different feeling vibe-wise than any other Walt Disney World resort. It is like staying in like the little Disney town, like a little community. I love the vibe of this place. It is so chill. In fact, if they just came around and just said, can I take your theme park tickets? You'd probably be like, sure. I'm not going to the theme parks. I'm just going to go up to the gurgling suitcase and just eat at Olivia's. I'm good. I'm going to the pool. I'm just going to watch people play golf. It's that chill. So be careful. If somebody comes around and tries to take your theme park tickets, you probably still want to go to the parks, but it's crazy. It's so chill over there. It's awesome. I love it. Okay. So Pam, you stayed there many times. Give them a recommendation for a section of Old Key West they might want to enjoy.
Honestly, I have liked all the sections of Old Key West that I'd stay in. And like we tend to recommend when you have a room request, instead of requesting a certain area or a certain room number, request the things that are important to you. So if you want a view of the water from your balcony, then request that. If you want to be close to a bus stop, then request that. If you want to be close to the main Old Key West building or the pool there, request that. If you want to be close to any pool, because there are other quiet pools located at the resort, request that. But that is the best chance of your getting what is important to you. I really like all the different sections. I think that sometimes if you have a car, that may dictate, that the bus stop is actually more important to you. The great thing about Old Key West is that even though it's a really big resort, it also has an internal bus system so that you can easily get from places here to there. And I always say, I have stayed at the very furthest out from the main building, building where our room was, and we usually walk to the main pool because it feels like old Florida. Like it has that kind of sense to it. So like you hoof up with all your crap to sit by the pool all day. Right?
Golf carts are going past. You hear people playing golf. I mean, it's like you're living the Florida dream. You're coming from Canada, man. You're living the ultimate snowbird dream there for a few.
It's true.
However long you're there.
It is absolutely true. So that's why we tend to do that. But yeah, there's lots of great things about different sections. But just think about what's important to you. And I think the views that most people request is either a golf course view or a water view or the location. And those are the things that you'll want to keep in mind. You'll have a great time.
And then actually her other question wasn't recommendations from the menu. It was actually dinner or breakfast. And I would say dinner at Olivia's. Breakfast is good. Don't get me wrong. I've had plenty of breakfast there.
Yeah, I know. Breakfast is good.
Yeah, I would say the correct answer is both.
Yeah, don't choose.
Staying there because they have a good breakfast, but dinner is rocking. And make sure you request to eat on the patio once. The patio is where it's at that place. Oh,
it is so fun.
Yeah, it's so good. And so final question was directly to Pam. I mean, boom. Not to put you on the spot, but man, you got to name a lounge.
I know, right? And there are so many good ones. So I'm going to name two. That's my prerogative.
There you go.
Well, I mean, she did say, let me change her email here. Let me.
Yes. She says, I know. I'll ask for one and you'll give me two answers.
Wait, hang on. I'm going to go back in. And final question for Pam is, what is your favorite absolute top two lounges on property?
Right. There you go. That's it. That's what she said. That's what I read.
Yes. There are so really good. And I'm going to narrow it down to two, but any of the ones that I've spoken about on the podcast are all good. And my favorites change. So this last time, again, we ate outside at Brown Derby Lounge. Gotta love me some Brown Derby Lounge, especially if the weather is beautiful, because you're outside, you are people watching, and you get to see some fantastic conversations and outfits go past as you're enjoying some lovely food and drink at the Brown Derby Lounge. So love that one. And also going to give the second one to the Enchanted Rose at the Grand Floridian, because it's just casual, but a fun place. They have drinks, they have some food. So those are my two right now, but there's so many. They're all good.
Speaking of the Brown Derby Lounge, so I was at the studios yesterday as we're recording, and I was walking past Brown Derby proper there, and you know how they have that little lawn to the next to it by the big archway. So Donald Duck and Daisy Duck were on that lawn. And they busted out a picnic basket in a big checker picnic blanket thing. And they start laying out a whole picnic. I think I had this conversation on a show about how kids don't know what a picnic is. And all of a sudden they're
there you go.
What? I'm like, maybe they listen to the show, The Ducks.
The Ducks.
They're giving a demonstration. They take it out, they unfold it together. They lay out this red and white checkered blanket on I didn't stick around because I had to go see my Frozen sing along right then. But I didn't know if they popped out some cold turkey or chicken legs, or maybe some ham sandwiches.
Probably not chicken leg. Probably not chicken leg.
Duck on the range.
Probably not that. Probably
I'm gonna
not.
say no duck, no
It was
chicken,
cute.
no.
I mean, it was cute. It was Daisy Duck and Donald Duck there.
I know there are a
Like,
lot of
like,
characters there.
yeah.
Usually, we've seen Chip and Dale there. We saw she wasn't in that area, but she was in the other area. Edna.
Oh,
When
yeah,
we were
she's standing
down there
kind of like as you
by
walk
Men
up
in
to
Bills,
Tommy's
yeah,
Theater.
going to
Yeah,
yes.
right
I know,
there.
right? She was looking fab, and she was pointing out outfits. I just the number of characters you see sort of around the parks now has definitely increased, and I love that change. I'm so glad that they've done that.
Yeah, I got to see my boy Frozone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Frozone. He's my favorite. All right, next question. And it says the title of it is one of those wild LSU fans has a question. One of those people that spells go wrong. All those extra letters. Geaux is how they spell it down there. The other Tigers, not like Mizzou. We just say Go. We're efficient. No, LSU fans. Geaux.
Well, plus two, sometimes when you're Southern, you give a one syllable word 2 or 3 syllables.
Hey, my relatives are all Southern.
You can do Gio.
How do you say the month after June?
July.
That's right. Okay, just making sure. Okay, hey Pam, Mike, Ricky, and Scotty G, my family, my husband, 9-year-old son, and myself are sailing on our first Disney cruise next month. We're sailing on the Fantasy. We're flying in the evening before and staying at the Hyatt in the Orlando airport. I've been exploring all the transportation options and cannot decide which one would be best and wanted to ask what you would suggest. I'm bouncing between getting an Uber, a private car service, or the Disney Cruise Line shuttle transportation. Side note, LSU's opening game of the football season is in Orlando this September, and my husband and I have planned a Disney trip around the game, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of purple and gold in the parks that weekend. Thanks for all you do. I love the show. Heather, okay, I've mentioned this before. That is the weekend. We need to have the parade in the Magic Kingdom of all LSU fans. Just purple and gold, just right down Main Street, USA. Like, I mean, it would last for 15 minutes. They could just play their fight song. They could have Les Miles. They could have, who was the guy that, oh man, I forgot their coach that he's not there anymore, but
yeah, you're looking at the wrong two ladies.
Yeah, this is not for us.
Ed Ogeron. Go
yeah, I would have never guessed that name.
That's it.
Yeah, Brian Kelly right before he's going to be down there for the game. He could be up there. One of my former students is a defensive coordinator, Robert Steeples. He was in Pam and myself. He was in our 5th grade class. He's a defensive coordinator for the Tigers. I mean, we could have. I'm arranging this. I'm calling Disney. We need a LSU purple and gold parade down Main Street because I saw all kinds of LSU fans over the past weekend when I was there. It's April. It's a football season. People have their LSU stuff on. I mean, I put my Mizzou Tiger stuff away in the spring for a little bit, and I'll bust it back out here again soon. I mean, anyway. So, what was your question? It was about getting from the airport over to the cruise.
There's a very long way to go. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm super tired. It was a long race weekend. Okay. So, Pam, what would you do? Private transport, Uber, Lyft, or Disney Cruise Line taking you from the Hyatt at MCO over to the park?
So one of the nice things about staying at the Disney Cruise Line or taking the Disney Cruise Line transportation is you really don't have to worry about boarding times and when you're going to get there and all of that. So that's the advantage to that. I probably wouldn't Uber just because there's lots of Uber like needs from the airport area and the times where there is surge pricing or whatever, just a higher price because you're at the airport, I think is more likely when you're right there. So I would probably look at private transportation if you don't want to take the Disney Cruise Line transportation, because I think that offers you the most flexibility and you have that professional service and you know that they're coming to get you, and those are all comforting things too.
I wonder how far Uber goes, like places like Uber and Lyft. I've never thought about that.
I mean, I've seen people ask them to take them really long distances. Like I'm talking like different states.
You kidding? Are you real?
I'm not kidding. I've seen it. I don't know if they will do it. I mean, I'm sure for a price they will.
Is it
like
up to the driver? I mean, does the driver get to pick? Like say like I'm in St. Louis and I ask an Uber to take me to Chicago. They're going to take me to Chicago?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I did. So when we stayed in New York one time, we actually we called Uber to pick us up and take us because we were going to the port, and the time and / distance that it would from where we were staying to where the port was, the Uber drivers wouldn't do it. Basically, they were like, they would get to the hotel that we were staying at and they were like, no. And they turned around and they just canceled our ride.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, this was a few years ago, but yeah, they absolutely totally canceled our ride and they're like, no. So we ended up finding somebody and gave them money on the deal. But, that worked out too. So.
I've always wondered that. Because you got to get home, right? I mean, you can't go. I mean, if you're going to take somebody, I guess the port's not that far. It's like 45 minutes.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, but you have to remember those Uber drivers have to come back to where, so like that's
but going to a port, maybe they could catch somebody and bring them back.
Hopefully they could catch. Yes. Yeah. In that instance, that would work out. But for the Uber driver in our instance, like he was stationed in that city and he did not want to drive all the way to New York City and then go all the way back. So, without having anybody to pick up. So,
yeah, that's true. Okay. Last question of the day comes from Chris. Hey, Mike, and everyone at the podcast. We're traveling to Walt Disney World in 2 weeks, or for 2 weeks in May, 2 adults and 2 young children. And we're coming from the United Kingdom. My wife and I have been to Walt Disney World together on a few different occasions before we had kids, and have been to Disneyland Paris with the children a couple of times as well. We know that Walt Disney World is very different to Paris, but I wonder if you can tell us what differences we should expect bringing 2 young kids with us versus having visited with just the 2 of us in Florida, and also any must-do things for the young children. We're staying in a villa for the 2 weeks, so we won't be using extra hours, Disney transportation, etc. But we want to know how to get the best out of our trip for the whole family without overdoing it for the 2 young children, as we're used to doing rope drop to park close on our previous trips. Thanks in advance, and I hope our question can make it into the podcast before we travel. Chris. Well, Chris, thanks for listening over in the UK. We appreciate it and hope you have a great trip here next month and you enjoy the States again. And it's going to be fun with your kids. So, Pam, just kind of general advice. They're coming here with the kids. They're going to be here for 2 weeks. So I would say pace yourself. It's like a marathon.
Yeah.
Don't go out too hard. That's great advice for a marathon, and it's great advice for vacation, especially with kids.
100% agreed. I think that you will want to look at strollers probably for younger kids. Many times you see parents overestimate the times that their children want to be walking, and once your little one is tired and whiny and wants picked up, and it's hot, and the last thing you want to do is be picking up and carrying a little one. The stroller becomes a godsend. It just really, really does. So consider that. I think, my advice is always when you're traveling with a little one, try to keep on their schedule as much as possible. If you normally eat at a certain time, if you normally go to bed at a certain time, if you normally do all those things, try not to vary too much from that schedule. Or maybe, if you're going to vary, don't vary everything. Like you want to stay up late to see the fireworks, awesome. But still try to keep like lunchtime the same and dinner time the same, because if everything's messed up, then that just makes for cranky people. And one cranky kid is all it takes to make everyone cranky, right? We saw that.
Truth.
It is. It's very
I already know this.
It's true. It's just stressful. I think that's the other thing too. I know that parents, when you have one who's like really whiny or crying or sobbing, it's stressful for everyone in the party. And I think if you can avoid that, that's a really important thing. And then just pack a lot of patience, and let your kids sort of direct what you're doing, where you're going. I think it's really fun to do that. maybe they want to spend an hour at the playground or the water play area near Mission Space, and go ahead and do that. That's where the memories are made. Those are the things that they want to do right then. Or maybe they really enjoy character greeting and you find this out on day one and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, let's make sure that we hit some more of these character greetings because our child loves this. Or maybe they hate character greetings and you want to think, okay, we have a character meal planned, 3 days from now. This might not be the best idea since our child screams like she's being, hurt every time she sees the characters. So just things like that, bring flexibility and enjoy it. And by the way, memory maker.
Gotta get
it.
Especially if you're gonna be there for that long. Have it. It's gonna come out like the minuscule per picture. You're gonna get so many.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, make sure you get memory maker. It's the best.
All right, Mommy Ricky, what do you say?
What do I say about? Yeah, I mean,
you're a parent now. Let's go.
I'm a parent who has
using that diploma that's on the wall now. Put it to work.
She hasn't been to the parks yet, so I'm not quite as skilled yet.
Make it till you make it. That's what
there you go.
For 15 years.
I'm gonna say for sure. I agree with Pam. Take their pace because that's gonna be so key. I would not go morning to night. I mean that's just the days that you want to go in the morning, maybe leave a little bit early. The days that you want to make sure you're there for the fireworks and stuff like that, maybe take my method of getting to the parks and get there at noon, 1 o'clock or whatever, and then stay for the evening, relax during the day. I think that's just going to be key. Because you're not going to be able to do that. I mean, I couldn't do that without having Lucy. So, I mean, I can only imagine how much more difficult it would be, with her. So, that's going to be like the biggest piece of advice is just take it. Like Pam said, take it kind of at their pace and go with that. And the other thing you're going to have to obviously take into consideration is the time difference, because that's going to throw everybody off. It threw me off when I did the opposite, going over to London and Paris. So I can only imagine coming over. I know how that's going to throw everything off too. So maybe definitely take a day or two to really acclimate to that time change for the kiddos, because that's going to be just horrendous if you don't. So I would do that.
Good tip. Yeah, just it was a trip for me, just being on the West Coast, two zones over. Like, why is everybody going to bed so early?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So we are going to duck out of here, but we'll be back again on Friday. Now, Friday, we got a fun trip report, or not trip report, but a show for you, because we're going to talk about all the fun stuff that Pam and I have done recently down at Walt Disney World. Like Pam stayed in the newly refurbished rooms at All-Star Sports.
Nice.
I know you thought I was going to say something like Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Right.
No. We can talk about Grand Floridian because she did stay there too. But yes, All-Star Sports, and these rooms are pretty slick. So you might want to check those out because, that's kind of my style. And young families, man, it's a great place. You want to be on property. That's where the vibe is. And this is a great, great option. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about our experiences on Tron. I got busted for having a fanny pack. Hear the story, details at 11. I know, Ricky, it was crazy. Dude, I got the walk of shame. It was terrible. Had to get to walk to the locker. Like I was like in 7th grade or something.
They have your picture somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Bad job, Mike Roman. Bad.
Terrible. I almost cried.
Oh my gosh. So
we just talk about all, Pam was there for the return of Happily Ever After. She talks about the vibe of being in the park for that and the dessert party and all the good stuff there. And only getting, I think, 3 pieces of cheesecake or something. The 3 samples, or 3 squares of cheese or something. I don't know. It was a crime against humanity because I wasn't even paying for the one dessert party I went to at the Magic Kingdom. The travel agency was, Pam was. This was like a few years back. And I ate so many desserts, I almost threw up because I was going to eat all the desserts because they were included. Pam does the opposite. She has like 3 cubes of cheese.
She says, that's good enough.
When you go to a dessert party, man, it's all included.
Well, they told me I wasn't allowed to take that much because you had eaten so much during that.
Oh, yeah, that's probably it. They're probably like, okay, we're going to balance this out because we know that you're friends with Roman. He ate 12 pounds of cheesecake last time we came to the party.
Gotta nix that.
Yeah, and then I was just sweating the whole time the fireworks were going. I was like, I don't care. Anyway, Join us Friday. It's a fun show, and we always appreciate having you as a listener. Hey, if you have a question for the show, Mike at BRGuestPodcast.com. Drop that in the email. Don't forget, you can follow Ricky on the social media at Ricky Nibs, RIKKINIBS. Pam's at TMFLT Pam. I'm at BRGuestMike, Instagram and Twitter. Also, the show always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan that next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. It's super simple. Just swing by the website, themagicforless.com. All great trip planning tools right there at your disposal to get started. And then while you're there, fill out that free, no obligation quote form, and an agent will get back to you right away. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. That supports everything we do throughout the year. And thank you to our patrons who allow us to put the show out 3 to 4 times a week. Couldn't do it without you. And our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest coming over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Join us this Sunday night, where we're going to be taking your calls, talking about all things Disney. We could talk about Run Disney. We could talk about annual pass sales. We could talk about Tron. We'll take your calls, whatever's on your mind. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Join us live on Facebook